Hey guys, I'm Ashley Rothstein and I create animal-based recipes. Today we're going to be making my carnivore pizza. The crust is entirely animal, all animal products, and we're going to top it with some Italian sausage and some raw cheese. It takes just 45 minutes to an hour to make. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the pork rinds and put them in the food processor. Set those aside. In our food processor, we're going to take some meat. I recommend using chicken or turkey. You can use any meat that you want, but I like using chicken or turkey because they're very lean and also the color gives more of an authentic feel to the pizza crust. So now we're going to mix all of the other ingredients aside from the pork rinds. So we have the meat. Today we're using turkey in the food processor. Eggs, melted ghee. You can also use melted butter. This is some Italian seasoning. You don't have to use this if you're strict carnivore. You can leave this out. And some sea salt. Now we're gonna blend this together. Add the pork rinds to the food processor. Now blend this together. Now that the crust is all blended together, it should be thick and dense like you would expect a standard pizza crust to be. So we're going to take that and form it into a pizza crust now. How I do this is I start by forming it into a circle like this, just kind of a standard circle, and then I start in the center and start pushing outwards. Recipe will form about a 12-inch crust if you use a thick crust and much larger if you do a flatbread pizza. Started from the center and pushing out, and as you push out from the center, you'll just naturally get a thick layer that kind of forms, and then I just keep refining it. So I basically kind of make a circle with my fingers, line it and run them along the edge of the inner part of the circle, and then as you just kind of do this over and over, it'll just start to form a crust. This dough does not rise, so however you create it, it will bake. It may get a slight lift, but not much. So however thick, like whatever thickness you create, it will bake in that same form. Now that the crust is formed, we're gonna take the crust, put it in the oven, and bake it for 30 minutes at 375 degrees. While the crust is baking, we're gonna make the toppings. Today I'm gonna top the pizza with some shredded raw cheese, and I'm going to, from scratch, make an Italian sausage using pork and Italian seasoning. Shred the cheese. This is raw cheese. You don't have to use raw cheese. I prefer to use raw cheese. If you do use raw cheese though, you wanna make sure you don't cook it for too long to pasteurize the cheese. Now we're gonna make the sausage. So I take about 3 tablespoons of ghee. You just want a lot of fat. Set the stove to about medium high and wait for the ghee to melt. As soon as the ghee is hot, maybe you'll see a little bit of steam coming out. You're gonna take raw pork and put it in the pan. You should hear a sizzle like that. That's how you know the oil is hot enough or the fat is hot enough. Now we're going to add some Italian seasoning. Again, if you're carnivore, you don't have to add this. It's just really tasty. And then a little bit of sea salt. Let the meat pan fry. It'll turn into a nice brown color. You'll know the sausage is done when it gets this nice crisp brown char. Took me about, I would say, 8 to 10 minutes or so at about medium to medium high heat to get it to look like this. Okay, so the crust is done baking, so we're gonna take that out. The center's bubbled. It'll likely come down once the pizza cools, and you can kind of just adjust it here, and it'll come down once the pizza cools. If there's extra fat sitting on top of the pizza crust, you can go ahead and you can leave it if you prefer, or you can just blot a little bit of it out. We're going to take the Italian sausage, put it on top of the pizza, like this, and then the raw cheese on top. We don't want to bake it too long as it will pasteurize the cheese, so we're just going to bake for a few minutes to melt the cheese. I just left the oven on at 375. Put that in for about 2 to 3 minutes and watch it. Cheese is melted and ready. We're gonna let this cool for maybe 10 minutes or so and then cut it up and slice it into however many slices you want. For other animal-based recipes like this, check out the other videos on Heart and Soil's YouTube channel and my blog, asheats.com, which is linked in the description below.